Okay, thanks for coming on.
You got it.
Good to see you. This is great.
Excited.
Big day for Michigan State today. I mean, we'd be, I guess, remiss if we didn't mention it. But, man, $400 million from Greg Williams and Don.
Yeah, it's fantastic. I heard you were going to match that, but
Yeah, we're working on it. Maybe 401. But Greg's been a great contributor to Michigan State, and obviously you know him and Don, and man, that's got to make a big difference for.
you know when the campaign Go Sparta came out, right, and there was the $1 billion goal. You wondered, like, okay, and you know some people are going to step up, but when and how? But to do it in week one, and that's 40% of the goal. It's incredible, just incredible. And from what I read, the largest gift that's been given to a university. So
across the country, right?
Yeah, it's incredible.
Or maybe the world.
Yeah,
maybe the world. That's amazing. So the standard format on these things is sort of spend a little bit of time on who Matt Steigenga is, right? And do I understand that you were originally sort of born or raised in the Okemos area?
I was born in Lansing at Sparrow.
Yeah.
I love to tell the story that my kids and myself are the only people from my family born at Sparrow. And we lived in Okemos, so I went to Edgewood Elementary, which is now no longer a school, but I believe still part of that district.
Right.
Through when did I move? Second grade.
And,
so I was 8 years old.
And what caused you to be here? Because your family mainly is from Grand Rapids, and I think I may know a cousin that was friends with my ex-wife. So tell me what had you here?
Well, my family's mainly from Holland, so just a little bit west of Grand Rapids, but the Grand Rapids greater area. And my dad took us here, had a job here, and so I want to say. So if my sister's 4 years older, so we moved in between her birth and mine. They were here for about 10 years.
Okay.
And so, that's what got us here.
And then you moved from Okemos to...
We moved to Holland.
Okay.
So this was in 1978, 79. So, it's so interesting because we had... hockey tickets. We went to the basketball games, and so
Ron Mason would have.
Yeah, I believe
been here maybe or just. Yeah, I think for sure he was here in the 83s and the 80s, and probably in the late 70s he was probably here.
I remember going to a couple of hockey games. I remember the basketball games, but. At Jenison, think about it, right? This is when Magic was a freshman, and Judd really had things going.
77, 78, he would have been a freshman, right?
Yep. And I spent most of my time under the bleachers or running around the track at Jenison or playing. There's bars underneath the upper deck where you can hang. Right. That's where I spent my time, and not watching basketball or some of the greatest teams.
So the funny thing about it is, and obviously you've been to Duke, but at the halftime you could walk around the track, but you could also walk around the outside of the court. So like inside of the bleachers, at Jenison, it was so very different than it is today.
Total access.
Right.
I remember the game my freshman year. So I played my freshman year at Jenison. And then the last three at Breslin.
So that would have been like 90.
88, 89, 90.
Yeah, 90 was
88, 89.
Yeah, 90 was the first year with Steve Smith, was his senior year, right?
It was his junior year, but we won the Big Ten. Of the Breslin.
Yeah. That was a great time. So you go to Grand Rapids, and what do your parents do?
My dad, at the time, he started a Century 21 brokerage.
So real estate
in
agent.
Holland, and it was in the late 1970s, early 80s, when inflation, from what I understand, because I've gone back and talked to people from that time, was 20. Interest rates
18
was 20%, and it just really crushed that market, and so it was tough. It was really tough. And
did your mom work?
She did. I know she got her real estate license, and she would just do whatever she had to do.
Yeah, those were tough times to borrow money. Yeah. That's for sure.
And now since I've been in commercial real estate, now I
Right.
learned about, back then what was popular was land contracts. I'm like,
Right.
no, that all made sense.
And how many siblings do you have?
Older brother, 6 years older, and my sister was 4 years older.
And was athletics always sort of part of the family life and in Michigan State, or was there something else that and you just happened to?
Like I was
Oh.
like an anomaly.
Yeah.
Like my brother's like 6 foot or even shorter. No. My brother's 6'4". My dad was 6'4". My dad and my mom both went to Holland Christian, and my dad was part of a basketball team that went to the state championship, I believe, his senior year and lost. And so he was very athletic. My mom was a terrific athlete. People ask, "Oh, you got everything from your dad?" And I'll say, "No, from my mom." She was 6 feet tall. She
Wow.
played tennis at Hope College.
Okay.
And from what I understand, well, everyone would always say she was just a tomboy, right? She just played
Right.
sports back, when girls weren't really doing that. And so her opportunity was tennis, and that's what she did. But yeah, so I was always that little kid, being brought along. My brother, had we stayed here, would have been part of the Okemos basketball state championships in the 80s.
With Bobby Fossum.
Well, Mike Mertz, Bruce Arnsmeyer,
Yeah.
those guys were in our neighborhood.
Yeah.
So those guys here in Okemos. So, here I am, they always, whenever they needed a 10th or they needed someone for football,
Yeah.
my brother would come and grab me, and I usually went kicking and screaming because they never passed me the ball, right? They never gave me the ball. I didn't want to do
Right.
it. And I'd
Right.
start, and I'm sure at some point, start crying. And so then they'd throw me the ball, and then they would just, smear me, kill me, crush me.
That's a great neighborhood over there too.
It was.
Yeah.
It was great. I mean, there was one lot right in the middle that didn't have a house on it, and that was the playing field. We
Yeah.
lived 2 houses down. And so that was the lifestyle.
Yeah. And so you do sports, and at some point, obviously, you focus on basketball in high school.
Yeah, back then we did everything, right?
Right.
You played 3 sports, and there wasn't this
Basketball,
focus on
football,
one
and
thing. Yeah.
baseball?
I played baseball after Okemos, we moved
Right.
to Holland, and I played baseball there. And when we moved from Holland to Grand Rapids before 8th grade, we moved in the summer, right at the start of the summer, and I didn't know where to sign up. We lived out in the country, and just I skipped playing baseball that summer, and I never played again.
Yeah.
Missed it, but didn't miss it, right?
Right.
It wasn't a big deal.
Right.
But yeah, that's when things were starting. So with, funny story actually is that in Holland Christian at the time didn't have football, so I played a ton of soccer.
Oh, really?
A lot of soccer.
Because that's a fall sport for boys.
Correct.
Or at least it was.
Yep. And so did that. Was playing rec football, but obviously then in basketball, and that was kind of just all my buddies, your friends, right? You do what they do, and they did what I did.
Couldn't make the golf team.
My parents, ironically, it's so funny to talk with their friends from this area back then. They would play probably once a week. They played
Indian Hills.
Indian Hills, thank you.
Yeah.
And that's what they did. So
Yeah.
this scar I have on my forehead is from my brother driving a 5-iron through my forehead when we lived here at Okemos.
Yeah. Definitely.
It's a funny story. Yeah, he was babysitting. And, he dared me to do something. I did it, and he hit me. It happened.
Yeah, and did they take you to the hospital? Or
so they were all golfing. I think he was angry they didn't take him, and they had to come off the golf course to take me to the emergency room, and on a weekend. And so I always think that maybe some intern was there doing the stitches.
Well, that would have been like pre-cell phone, wouldn't it?
Oh yeah, way before.
Yeah,
in the 70s.
So somehow they had to figure out how to
call a course.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it took a while.
But tell me what your high school. Where did you go to high school?
So I ended up going, when we moved to Grand Rapids, we were in the kind of either Byron Center, East Kentwood area.
Mm-hmm.
And since I'd gone to Holland Christian, South Christian was right in the middle of it. And so that's where I ended up going.
And tell me, were you a Mr. in basketball?
I was in 1988.
And was that your senior year?
Yes.
Yeah. And who'd you beat out?
We beat in the championship.
No, for Mr.
Oh,
Basketball.
who'd I beat out? Do you know this answer? I feel like you're setting me up here.
No.
Mike Poplawski.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah.
And you guys were in the same class, right?
Yes,
And both of you came to Michigan State.
we did together. Yeah,
And was Mark Montgomery part of that class?
he was. So yeah, Mark Montgomery, Parrish Hickman, Jeff Kassler from Lansing Community, and Baker, who was there as well. And I'm leaving out John Zuloff from Port Huron. Wasn't Mark Baker? Oh gosh, I just talked about him the other day. But he was 6'9", super talented, but ended up not.
He was from Kirk Baker.
He was from Lansing. Yeah.
From LCC, maybe.
Yeah. He's from a high school here in town.
Yeah, he was a good player.
Yeah, he would have really helped, but he, for some reason, couldn't get into school that fall and just never made it.
And so, how'd you do in high school? Did you win the states or?
We did. My senior year, and the funny thing about South Christian was it was really a kind of a sports-oriented school,
right?
And they had gone to a state championship earlier in the 80s, and started a really strong connection with the coach. The only thing that really I didn't love about it, it was a 3-year high school.
Oh, so sophomore, junior, and senior year. Yeah, that's what I did. That was my high school.
Right, and so as a freshman, I had my first dunk when I was in the 7th grade. So now I had to play junior high basketball, especially my freshman year, because I was playing with the high school guys. I was already
right.
And they were good. Well, I'm sorry, they were obviously a good program, but I'm like, I just was chomping at the bit. It was just
to be
hard.
in high school. Yeah, that was like magic in high school and junior high. You went to Dwight Rich Junior High, and obviously could dunk at a young age. So that's not a bad comparison. But it obviously you didn't need 4 years of high school to sort of move on to, pretty good situation, right?
Yeah, I mean, I'd gone to a couple university camps. I was getting letters from Central, but even before high school. And my first high school game, I remember, I think it was 20 or 22 points, a couple of dunks.
Yeah.
We beat our rival, and it was a headline in the Grand Rapids Press, and so that just started it all.
Yeah, that's pretty good. Now, did you know Scott Skiles at all?
I just knew the name,
right?
Obviously, yeah.
But you weren't coming down here to Michigan State for games, or you weren't obviously you were being recruited, but he would have been here. I think his last year was maybe 86.
He was 86.
Yeah. So he would have been a little ahead of you, but not much.
No, not much at all. He's 6 years older. I actually got to know him, after in the 90s, but not then.
Yeah. So and he was sort of the star when I was here. It was Skiles and Larry Pollock, believe it or not.
Oh, sure.
And
we had the same number.
Yeah, and I'm not sure that there was anybody.
Well, Sam Vincent.
Sam Vincent was older than, so I think Sam's last year might have been 84.
Yeah.
84 or 85. That was a good team. That Kevin Willis, Ken Johnson, and Daryl Johnston.
Hey, Carlton Valentine.
Carlton was.
He was on the.
Carlton was Jerome's sweet mate.
Oh, really?
Yeah, Carlton and Sarkine and Izzo, Mario Izzo. Yeah. So you get recruited out of high school by Izzo or Judd?
No, primarily Izzo.
Yeah.
So, that was what universities were doing. It was all the assistants were the main recruiters.
Right.
Head coaches weren't out on the trail like they are today.
Yeah, and so tell me what that was like. Obviously, I assume you could have gone someplace else other than Michigan State, but why choose Michigan State?
Yeah, it's funny. My other choice, we could talk about it because it's my final choices were Michigan, Arizona, North Carolina, and Michigan State. And so at the end, it really came down to North Carolina and Michigan State. And what we did with the recruiting was, I had the opportunity to go to a lot of places.
Visit the schools, right?
Yeah, you do the visits. But what I wanted to do was, okay, these are all great basketball universities, so there's no worry there. Great coaches, and So that gets eliminated.
Dean Smith,
Yeah.
right?
And Roy Williams was the assistant.
Oh, wow, yeah.
And so now it was, okay, what schools do I want to go to? You know, I want to pick my, in education was going to be, paramount. And so they were all great schools. And, ultimately I narrowed it down to the two. And North Carolina was recruiting Billy Owens,
Okay.
from Pennsylvania. And they were very upfront that, hey, look, Billy was 6'8", he was like the number 1 or number 2 guy in the country. And they just said, hey, look, Billy's our guy. Well, we really want you. We want you to come. And I'm like, that doesn't sound like fun to me, but because a guy.
And what are you, 6'8"?
Just under, right?
6'7" and a half?
I knew him from the summer,
Right.
camps and leagues, and I mean, great player, but
Right.
I'm just like, probably. It came down to, and Rick Fox was a year ahead.
Oh, really?
So
He was already there.
he was going to be a freshman, and it just came down to, I'm like, perfect. Billy is, and Billy played for Coach Lebo. That was his high school coach.
Oh, wow.
Jeff Lebo was the point guard at North Carolina. So it made
Wow.
sense that, North Carolina gets who they want, right? And Billy's going to go there because of the Lebo connection.
Right.
Easy peasy. So in the fall, there was a 2-week signing period. And on day one, out comes the Billy Owens announcement, I'm going to Syracuse. I'm like, oh, no.
Really?
Phone starts ringing. Pick it up, and I get, Matt, Coach Smith here at North Carolina. I'm like, yeah, Coach. Actually, I think what happened was I was in school, and my high school coach was our AD. He came running down the hallway.
I got Dean Smith on the phone.
Gave me the news. He's like, Coach Smith's on the phone. You got to come talk to him. I'm like, so I do. And he said, I don't know if you heard, but Billy Owens is going to Syracuse. I'm like, yeah, I heard. Coach, I heard. Well, you're our number 1 recruit. He goes, Coach Williams and I'd like to come up and pay another visit. And I'm just like, sure, Coach. So, that had my head spinning because then now the phone's ringing again. Mm-hmm. Coach Izzo's on the line. I'm
Right.
like, hey, Coach, Matt, you're still, what's going on?
And you had to know Pap, right?
Oh, yeah, for sure. So,
I mean, he would have played. He's from the Detroit area, right?
yes, he went to Warren De La Salle.
But you obviously would have played against him, I assume, in AA League.
And he and I had gone to this back then. The real big summer camp was called the Nike ABCD camp, and that was the big one.
Right.
And he and I roomed together for a week at that thing, so we
Yes.
got to know each other that week.
Right.
So on the recruiting weekend here at Michigan State, it was Mark Montgomery and Mike and me, and they had committed that weekend, right? And so they wanted to make it this big thing. Hey, we're going to get Matt.
And you're at Jenison for
What's
the
that?
recruiting weekend, I assume, or was it a football game?
It was a football game.
Oh, okay.
I think it was the Michigan football game.
Yeah.
Big deal, right? And so they're all pressuring me
and
with,
in '87,
yeah,
Lorenzo White.
yeah.
Oh,
yeah.
we won that game.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
So running onto the
That was
field
great.
after the game, we all
Yeah.
were doing that. Oh, it was great. It was a great recruiting weekend.
Yeah.
Actually, I was playing high school golf because I had quit football for basketball, and a decision I still regret. Although I got to play golf, so the high school.
Well, you were
regionals-
on the golf team?
Yeah, baby. So the golf regional was that Saturday morning. So here I am,
right.
going out Friday.
At Forest Acres?
No, so this is back in Grand Rapids. The regional was at Saskatoon, south of
Oh,
Grand
right,
Rapids.
right.
And I drove in, played, then just admitted I was done, just went right back to East Lansing. I think for the football game.
Oh,
So
right.
that's why I spent my
Like
Saturday.
it was probably like a 3:30 game or something.
Something, yeah. In
Yeah.
early tea time so I could do it.
Yeah.
So yeah, that was. But so Mark and Mike, make this commitment. They're trying to get me to do it with them, and I'm like, I was actually going to North Carolina the following weekend, and I just was like, no, I want to check out UNC. So for
Now,
that,
did they have the big stadium that they have today back then when you went down there, or is that?
Oh, the Dean Dome.
Yeah.
They did. Yeah. It had just been built.
So I mean, the Dean Dome is a big deal. They might be 20,000 people. I mean, I think is it bigger than Breslin?
Oh yeah.
It could be 30,000.
No, but it's over 20.
Yeah.
It's big.
And Breslin was not done,
Not finished yet.
but you could see the.
Right.
But they're still playing at Jenison, which is quite.
But the thing was, it was supposed to be ready for our freshman year. That was
okay.
that was one of the big recruiting pieces.
Yeah.
So after we all signed, I think Breslin had that accident, like just after that.
Oh,
Or
right.
no, it was before.
It was one of the first days of construction because Sherry Jones was on here and she said my first day on the job, the president has something happen.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I remember getting a panicked phone call from Tom
Oh, really?
Izzo, just being, and I just told him that that's not important to me. That's not going to make anything in my decision. Don't worry about it. And looking back, I'm so happy it worked out that way.
Well, what? So you do go down to North Carolina,
Oh, yeah,
right?
the following
And
weekend.
I mean, now you're their number one recruiter.
Not yet, not yet, because this is before the signing period. So this is maybe a month before.
Okay, but what do they? I mean, they put the push on you. They come up to Grand Rapids to see you, right?
Oh yeah.
And
And a funny story about the home visit from the coaches. So,
I mean, Dean Smith is bigger than life, and
in 1980, North Carolina, the
but
country.
had he won a national championship yet?
Yes, the one with Michael Jordan.
Oh, right.
When they beat Georgetown. So this is so funny. I'll never forget this. They walk into our house, and my dad had passed away. My mom had remarried, and my stepfather was a minister. And so we had this like humble parsonage. And here comes Dean Smith, but my father had smoked, right?
Mm-hmm.
And Coach Smith sits down and just a gracious man. And he looked at my mother and he said, Mrs. Steigenga, I'm actually, he used her new married name, but just said, I deeply apologize, but do you by chance mind if I smoke, and do you have an ashtray? And my mom, I swear, shot straight up in the air about 10 feet, almost hit her head on the ceiling, and went into like every closet she could. And, she was a pack rat, so she found one and gave it to him.
Wow.
And, the first time I saw him had been at the camp I mentioned when I was with Poplawski.
Yeah.
And all the coaches are surrounding the floor. When these high school kids are playing, they all want to be seen, right? They're all wearing their emblems for their universities. But I could never find Coach Smith. I'm like, where is he? Where is he? Finally, I was on the bench at a game, and I'm looking up, and at the very top row, this was at Princeton University.
Right.
In their gym, he was sitting in the top row, and he kept leaning over, smoking a cigarette. I was like, there he is. It was interesting, yeah. And so it was interesting because I probably spent the 2 weeks of that signing period just not in a dark place. I just didn't know what to do. It's a hard decision for a 17-year-old.
There's no way you have any ability to make that decision with any modicum. I mean, it doesn't sound like your dad's no longer with you, right?
Well, my stepdad was great, but not my paternal father.
Yeah,
right?
and you don't have, it's not like you have an agent. It's not like you have, it's not like you have an uncle that's a super basketball person. You don't know any of these people, right?
I had my high school coach. I had my buddies.
It's early ESPN days, right? So every school on ESPN looks like a major powerhouse, right?
Remember, I'm living out in the country. We didn't have cable.
Oh,
if I wanted
God.
cable, I had to go to my friend's house. It was in Grand Rapids. I mean, it was, I didn't, and that was one thing like, Carolina promised was, hey, all of our games are on ESPN. We're always going to, try to get back near in the Midwest to play games. But yeah, it was tough. It was hard.
And what is the tipping scale? Because, Judd is not, Judd didn't look like a super athlete. You know what I mean? Like he had
You'd have to do your research, and then you find out.
And Tom was, for the most part, a nobody, right? I mean,
he hadn't been. He wasn't Tom Izzo yet.
No.
Other than and even after my playing days at Michigan State, people would wonder, would Tom be a great coach? I said, I know he'll be a great recruiter.
Right.
He more than likely would be a great coach, but he will get guys here, which he did clearly. But no, for me, my decision just came down to my family, and we're only an hour away from Michigan State. And I knew that, after college, I wanted to be in Michigan. That was what I really wanted.
Wow.
And so, I knew that staying here was going to, be the best thing for me. And by the way, I mentioned those 4 schools, right? You didn't hear about the one in Ann Arbor. So I wasn't going there.
Right.
And I just, I grew up here. I've loved Michigan State since I was a little kid. It was ingrained in me a little bit. So it really did make sense.
And who would have been at Michigan then?
Well, they won the national championship in '89, my freshman year here.
Oh yeah, so that would have been Ramil Robinson and
Yep, Glenn Rice.
Glenn Rice, yeah.
Yeah, Loy Vaught, who
Yeah.
I knew a little bit. And he
Played in
knew
the
his
NBA.
brother.
Played in the NBA, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
they were good.
Yeah, that was a great. So you come to Michigan State, and now you're here. You're playing for Judd, and you're sort of this sort of superstar, right?
Yeah, I mean there was that pressure.
I mean, you were sort of an enigma, really. I mean, I mean, you weren't this big man like Pop, and you weren't the guard. You were the white 3-man, very athletic, good-looking guy, right?
Sure.
I mean, yeah. I mean,
that doesn't parlay into good basketball.
I mean, well, I mean,
but Michigan State was struggling. I knew it'd have one thing I knew I'd have the opportunity to play. I think the season before was one of the really down years. But Steve Smith was a freshman, and he got to start as a freshman.
So we lose Skiles.
The year before that.
Yes, we lose Skiles, and I don't know if Skiles and Smith were on the same team, but
they weren't.
I remember being in the Jennison, right? Skiles is no longer there, and you're just looking at this team like, what the hell? And there was one kid, and it was like,
real skinny.
Where did we find this guy?
Right.
Like
diamond in the rough.
Yeah.
He
where
really
did
was.
Who is that kid?
Well, and right away when I got here on campus before freshman year and I was playing with Steve, I was like, wow, this guy's awesome.
Yeah.
And so that was kind of going to be the thing. And we had that team. We had Ken Redfield, who at 6'6" was a terrific athlete.
He had a. Was there a JC transfer?
We had Jeff Kassler.
Yeah.
That was going to be the start. I think he started at point guard, but then Mark Montgomery took that over after a little bit.
Yeah, I thought there was Redfield JC. He was a 4-year guy.
He was a 4-year guy.
Yeah, he was a kind of a very productive guy, really, in the years that he was here.
His senior year, he was the defensive player of the year.
Yeah.
But we had Kirk Manns.
Kirk Manns was
an
amazing.
Unbelievable shooter. Yeah. At 40 my freshman year against Purdue.
He was on that. He was on that 1990 team, right?
Yes.
And he was sort of the counter to Smith, right?
He was. I think he primarily came off the bench, but was always like Vinnie Johnson, a microwave, just instant 10 points. Can get it.
Yeah.
If you didn't guard him crossing half court, you were in trouble.
Now, I say this, but maybe it's not true. I obviously didn't play basketball, but I feel like Steve Smith was the original trash talker. And we happened when Breslin opened, we had pretty good seats.
Sure.
So we sat right behind Scofus.
Yeah.
And you know where Scofus sat, like third row.
Right.
Or second row, and we're in third row. And so, we could almost hear what they were saying. And Smith, he was like in a different world. He was at a different level. I mean, from what I could tell.
Well, and that's the fun thing about those seats is you really
Right.
it's a different. You see the size of everybody, the speed, but you can hear the talking. We'll leave it at that.
Yeah.
And he was great at it. I've played with some really good ones. I've never thought about putting him like in a top 5, but you're right. He would be that guy, a little bit like Jeremy Fears, that could get under your skin.
Yeah, Smith. The one time I was watching, you were playing Ohio State at the Breslin, and Jimmy Jackson was a freshman, and he was at the line, and Smith was. You could see it if you paid attention. Smith was like, "Freshman, you suck."
Right.
Freshman, you suck.
And Jimmy's not one to back down by any means. But Steve, it's almost like if he wasn't probably talking or running his mouth, there was something wrong.
One of the great games that I ever saw there at Brez was, and most people go to the Syracuse game with Chris Hill, right, and Carmelo, but you guys played Michigan, and I think they had Terry Mills.
Mm-hmm.
And Terry Mills was, on that game, he made everything.
Another Detroit guy like Steve. So they know each other since they were kids.
And Steve made everything. And he almost, like, if Kurt Mann shot it, even if he made it, it just looked like he was like, give me the ball.
Ticked off. I got to show Terry something.
And he won the game. It was an amazing game. You never see that game on replay, but it was an incredible battle.
That was probably 4 games before the end of the season, and
Yeah.
we ran off 10 in a row to win the Big Ten title.
Yeah.
And so that was, obviously we needed it, and it was, and the crowd rushed the floor. I mean, it was
For the
surreal.
Big Ten?
Well,
What do you mean?
they did that game, and then we beat Purdue at
Yeah.
home.
Yeah, we were there.
At the last one.
We were there for that. And that was a great time in my life because I had just taken the bar exam.
Okay.
Like a week before. My birthday was March 2nd. I think that game was like March 3rd. It was on a Sunday afternoon, that Purdue game. And, of course, the steal and everything. And the guy was closer than this wall throwing it in. And Scofus and I are screaming at him. You're going to screw this up.
Of course, Gene Katie wants a foul still on the play, but luckily the referees, I don't know.
But there was you were here another year?
So I was a sophomore, so 2 more years.
Yeah, and Steve Smith played another year.
Correct.
And when is Kenny, what was Kenny's last name?
Oh, yeah. That
Anderson.
was Anderson from Georgia Tech. So we were the number 1 seed going into the tournament after the Big Ten title. So that was Steve's junior, my sophomore year. And we get to the Sweet 16.
So that was the year we won the Big Ten.
Yes.
Yeah. And, man, what a heartbreaker.
Terrible. I still haven't watched that game beginning to end, but when it came on, they put it on the Big Ten during January, or
right.
I just couldn't watch it.
Yeah, I couldn't watch it. I mean, that was a great team and a
crime. Yeah,
terrible game.
We would have played Minnesota in the next round.
What? Tell me, what did you study at Michigan State?
Business administration.
And so you got into the business school, which wasn't an automatic, right?
No.
You had to get I think a 2.5 or a 3-point in your core classes, right?
Correct. Yep.
And you got in, and it's not something like Judd could make a phone call to do it. You had to get in, and you have a core group of friends, I assume. How was your social life?
It was good. It's interesting. It's not. I could be a student still.
Right.
We lived in apartments after our freshman year around campus, and my senior year I lived with 2 other guys on the soccer team.
Okay.
One of them who I actually went to elementary school with back in Okemos.
Oh, wow.
So it was really cool. And, lifelong friends with guys from that soccer team.
I think the soccer coach actually lived in that neighborhood.
Joe Baum?
Yeah, lived in Edgewood neighborhood.
Oh, okay.
Back by the river,
Probably.
actually. Yeah.
Yeah.
And so, you couldn't go out and not be recognized, right?
True.
But you were able to go out and go to the bars and live that sort of life that is a little bit different than today, I think.
I would think so. Right. I often say I certainly wouldn't want to be in these kids' shoes with cell phones and all those things. I don't think they can.
Right.
They can't really be, how about this, the college student that we were.
Right.
Because we could be somewhat normal. Now these kids are, they're just everything's scrutinized, their social lives.
Right. And there's whether you like it or not, there's big money involved.
Well, that changes everything. Yeah. Even in the last 10 years, right, these kids' lives, they couldn't, from what I understand, it's funny, social media was really hit me when after a game at Illinois, we're at the airport and it was an ice storm out. And the local airport there forgot de-icing fluid or whatever. So we couldn't fly home. It's like, so now we had to take the bus all the way back to East Lansing.
6 hours or something like that.
And, on icy roads, and there's not an empty seat on the bus. Well, big people don't do well on buses. So it's not a lot of fun. But somebody had texted me like, hey, heard you guys are busing back. I'm like, how in the world did you know that? Because all the players were tweeting it out.
Oh, right.
I'm like, wow, that to me was unbelievable. This is years ago.
Real time.
And so no, I wouldn't trade places with them.
When you're studying at Michigan State and you're seeing like all your buddies and they're all, the ones that aren't playing basketball are all, looking for jobs or thinking about what they're going to do. I mean, what is your plan when you graduate?
The hard part about my time at Michigan State was I had broken a bone in my foot during the playing time twice, and then the third time was during my senior year. And so while the thought and idea of playing professional basketball was there, the injury was one that had derailed Bill Walton's career. was the fifth metatarsal break, called a Jones fracture. And so there wasn't really anything that could get, there wasn't any, it was just like tough luck.
Right.
And luckily with the surgeons here, Herb Ross, did my surgeries. They figured out a way with screws through the core of the bone to get blood there to promote healing. And I played after that for 10 more years without issue. No issues.
Well, that's great.
And it was. So then, I got drafted, went to the pre-draft camps, played at those. So I played the last 2 months of my senior year on a broken bone. That wasn't fun. But
there must have been a situation where you couldn't do any
I couldn't
harm.
redshirt.
Well, you couldn't do any more harm to it, right?
It's a stress fracture, but if it had snapped, then I'm done.
Right.
So I'm going to play on it as long as I can. I didn't practice. But, your per game averages at that point just go shooting straight down.
Because you're not practicing.
Correct.
Right.
I was just getting a little bit out of shape and, wasn't practicing shooting much. So it was just playing games. It was tough.
Yeah.
It was really tough. But I went to that pre-draft camp, and I was roommates with, this is bizarre. Oh, God, now I can't think of his name. He was just the coach at Arizona. He led the nation in assists.
Bobby Hurley?
No, Arizona State, but Arizona. Now he's at Xavier because he was at Xavier before. I can't think of his name. He played at Pitt. Unreal. But so he led the nation in assists, and we're roommates on the same team.
A guard.
Yeah, and he looked at me and said, "Hey, you like to run, right?" I go, "Yeah." He goes, "Look, I'm not playing at the next level. I want to get into coaching." And he said his brother was at Indiana. Anyway, he goes, "I just want to." He goes, "Look, you run, I'll get you the ball, okay?" I'm like, "Sweet." So I had this unbelievable pre-draft camp, and that's where I interviewed for the Bulls, and that's what they drafted me later that summer.
In the second round?
Second round.
Yeah. So you get drafted, and you go to Chicago, I assume.
So because I was hurt, what they wanted me to do, they called, and congratulations, and they said, "What we'd really like you to do, since you were hurt this year," and I was one of. They had a first-round pick because they won the championship in 91, 92, 93. This is coming off 92. They said, and they had, I think, 4 second-round picks, and I was the 4th. So they said, "We want you to go to Europe for a year, get healthy, and then come back in 93, 94. And I'm like, "Yeah, sure. Sounds great to me." But I couldn't get to Europe in time because I was injured. So now I'm stuck. And my only option was to go to camp. They can't deny me from going to camp, so I could get released at least, but have a chance in camp. Right the day before camp starts, they found a job for me in Spain. So, pack your bags right from Chicago. I had my passport, and boom, I'm gone, and I'm playing in Spain one day later.
And how long did you play there?
1 year. And then I had been working out in Chicago, learning the triangle offense, go to Spain. And now I started playing in the summer leagues with Chicago, thinking I'm going to go back to do Chicago 93. And my agent calls and said, "Hey, I have this opportunity for a tryout for a team in Japan." I'm like, "I don't want to do that." He goes, "Just go. They're going to fly you first class to Los Angeles. You're going to play at UCLA. It's a Saturday, Sunday. They'll put you up, and just do it." I'm like, "Okay." So I do it because the thought of an idea of playing at Pauley Pavilion sounded really cool.
Right.
So I go there, and there's just a mass thing of players all competing for 2 positions to play in Japan. And I'm so bad at names. He was a GA at UCLA working for Jim Herrick, and became an ESPN guy. No, why can't I think of his name and make this so much better?
Yeah.
But he's running it, and I played really well, and I was a couple NBA guys there, and it's like weird, right? Nobody could guard me, and so they decide they want me to go, and I'm like, "I don't know," and my agent says, "Well, this is what they're going to pay you," and I go, "Yeah, I can do that for 1 year." Well, 1 year turned into 3, but I was still coming back and playing in the Bulls summer leagues, so I got good at the triangle, and then finally, things were going well in Japan, and I just was like, I was 26, and I'm tired of it. I gotta either do this now or I'll never do it. And I decided to come back and go to camp and do the real one in the fall with the Bulls.
And
things went well. It's funny because
you spent 3 years living in Japan, though.
Yeah. Well, how'd that go? That was hard. That was hard. It's not easy.
I mean, you're not married.
Nope.
You didn't have a girlfriend with you.
No, she was back here.
Yeah.
So it was tough.
So your league is just in Japan?
Just in Japan. Basketball is not real popular there. The
Right.
sports that are popular are the ones that they're good at internationally. So, I had 12 Japanese teammates, 2 Americans. We
Right.
played all neutral site games, so there's no fan base. But they wanted to promote it that way. And it kind of worked, but there might be some games there was
Coaches are
20 people. Some games it was packed. It was weird.
coaches are
Japanese.
yes.
He spoke a little English, but he was great.
yeah.
But it was hard.
But still a life experience, right?
Oh, I mean, when I had time to travel, and that's what I hadn't done when I played in Spain. I'm like, now I'm going to take advantage of it. So I went to South Asia a few times. It was great.
Yeah. And then you come back, and I assume you make the team.
So I make it right up to the last day, and I get released, and it never happened to me before in my life.
Never
right?
got cut.
Never got cut. And I had played really well, 10 exhibition games. I actually got to start the 8th game
Right.
of exhibition.
So you're thinking,
well,
I can play in the league, right?
So the story before the well, how about this? So we're playing the Portland Trail Blazers at down in Memphis back when they
Right.
had the triangle, diamond, or the pyramid
Right.
arena. And a lot of guys, starters, had just, feigned injuries. Well, Scottie Pippen was hurt. If you go back and see The Last Dance, that team was the team before The Last Dance. And so there were injuries, but some guys, Michael was getting frustrated, Michael Jordan, because every practice, everything, he showed up and, worked and worked and worked, never took a day off, nothing off. And Phil Jackson, to make Michael work a lot, would put like rookies. So I'm a
Right.
26-year-old rookie. I'm not a rookie.
Right.
I played with Michael a lot, and I had success. So here we are in the 8th game. I don't know I'm starting yet, and I'm sitting. I lockered next to Michael for one time. We're in a small locker room,
Right.
and I had this thing in my back pocket, a connection with him I wanted to talk about, and I just never had the chance. So I'd had a hole-in-one in golf down on Hilton Head Island
There you go.
at Wexford Country Club, where he was a member. And so I'm sitting next to him, and I said, "Hey, you ever get back to Wexford?" He looked at me like this, like, "What in the world are you talking about?" He goes, "Why?" I go, "I had a hole-in-one on there when I was 16." He goes, "What?" And then he's all into it.
Right.
He goes, "What hole?" I go, 13. He goes, I go, 120. He goes, yeah. So we started talking. So it was really cool. Then Phil walks up to me and said, "Well, Matt," he goes, "this is 10 minutes before the game.
Yeah.
You're going to be starting tonight." I'm just like, "What?" Okay. Now I'm thinking to myself, this is my make it or break it moment.
Right.
This is it. And so the guy I was competing against on that team, and there was no mystery to it, was Judd Bushler.
Right.
And, Judd had been there for about 2 years, maybe 3. And he comes up to me and he just said, "I've been here 3 years and I've never started a game." And I was just like, I don't know if he was trying to intimidate me, if he was pissed, but I'm like, too bad. So we go and play, and I'm sure people actually it was taped. There's a thing where even the announcer's like, Did this guy win like a contest to start from a bowl
you
or
had
something?
was that the game you had the great game?
So yeah, I'll tell people, like, we got absolutely drilled by the Trailblazers that night, absolutely drilled, but two bowls scored in double figures. One was Michael and one was me.
Yeah, that's
So I'm a free. By the way, I have no parachute, right? I mean, I'd have no contract, and I have nothing. So getting on that bus, I'm smiling, but I'm being cool about it. But I'm thinking to myself, I made this team. How
many points did you have?
13, and they took away a 3 because Michael had driven, passed to me. I nailed it, but they called like a driving foul, and they waived it. And I'm like, in my mind, 16.
Right.
Yeah, it's 16. So yeah, it was, and it was really wild because I had this play where I dunked on Cliff Robertson. I mean, it was crazy, right? And he fouled me and won, and Michael's just jawing at him at the free throw line. He goes, "Cliff," trying to get his attention. Cliff wouldn't look at him. Finally, he's like, "White boy can jump, Daddy Cliff." I'm like, "Mike, I'm trying to shoot a free throw here." Gosh. So it was really cool. Yeah, and, but unfortunately, and 2 more games go by, and yeah, that last day of camp, I'm nervous.
Right.
I know it's the last day, but I'm thinking, they haven't come to me yet.
Right.
And then I got Jerry Krause wants to see you. I'm like,
Oh.
so I go up, and it was in our little media room they had. It was like a film room, kind of like this room. And they had, it was the seats were kind of like risers, right?
Right.
And Phil Jackson and Jerry Krause were sitting there, and I sat on the lower one, across from them. And Phil kind of had his head down a little bit, and Jerry just said, "Well, unfortunately, you tried to make a team that last year went 72-10, best record, back then before the Warriors broke the record, greatest team ever." He said, "So we're just not going to make a change." And I went, "All right, I understand. I get that."
Oh.
So then he went around and asked all the other coaches if any comments, and it was Tex Winters. I'll never forget this. Stands up to his boss and says, "We're making a mistake. We shouldn't cut him." I was just like, holy cow. And that was really cool. And I saw him later, and I always, thanked him for that. And he just put he's like, yeah. He goes, "We shouldn't have." I was like, "Well, you did."
So where do you go?
Well, depression.
Yeah. But you're living in Chicago.
So I go up to Milwaukee. Spent a year in the CBA, now the G League.
Right.
And when the season ended, never got a call back. Right, never got called up, and now I can go anywhere, but it just never happened. And season ends, and I decide to, it's the Milwaukee Journal, and they would carry like the Bulls schedule in there, and I saw like, oh, hey, on Monday they're playing the Raptors at home. This is like maybe a Thursday.
Right.
I'm reading the paper, and I'm like, oh, okay. So I call down to the basketball office. I talked to Jerry's assistant, and my buddy's in Chicago, so he's a huge Bulls fan. And I'm like, hey, Karen Stack, would it be all right if I got a couple tickets to the game Monday night? She's like, yeah, sure. I'll tell Jerry, and we'll see you Monday night. I'm like, all right, cool. Well, Friday night, you just end the season. You're
just pretty random, right?
Yeah, but just do something on a Monday night.
Yeah. But you're, if you don't look in the paper, you're not,
right.
You're not going.
Won't have a clue. Won't have a clue. Not
right.
like today, right? Had to read the newspaper, and so Friday night, let your hair down, and Saturday morning, probably 8 a.m. Phone rings. Did have a cell phone.
Right.
Phone rings. I'm looking at it, 312, and I'm like, I close it. No, I think I answered the first call. I just went, "Hello."
Yeah.
Matt, Jerry Krause. Now I'm thinking it's Poplawski messing with me. I do.
Right.
I'm like, there's no way it's Jerry
Right.
Krause. I go, "Hey, Jerry." He's like, "Hey, instead of coming to the game Monday night, why don't you play in it?" And all of a sudden I realized it's Jerry Krause.
Right.
And I was like, wow. I didn't say wow. I was like, but I don't know if this is a family program.
No, you're fine.
I know. And I'm like,
You're fine.
I was just like, wake up. And I mean, I'd grown, beard was coming in, and I'm like, I had to, he said, I still remember this. He goes, "How fast can you get here?" And I'm like, Milwaukee to Chicago, and the practice facility was on the north side of Chicago. I go 45 minutes an hour. He's like, "Where are you?" I go, I'm in Milwaukee. He goes, "Oh, we thought you were in Michigan." He goes, "If you hurry up and get down here, you can make the team flight to Detroit." He said, we're leaving this afternoon. You got to pass your physical, sign the contract." I'm like, okay. So boom, hang up, and I'm just like, get ready. And I'm in my truck. It was a blizzard out.
Oh, man.
And I went down I-94. I had to have been doing 90 miles an hour.
Yeah.
Calling everybody, like, you won't believe it. I mean, I didn't care. I got down there so early, but yeah, that's how it started.
And so tell me, how long do you play with the Bulls?
I was only on there for the last 2 weeks of the season. And so
what year would that have been?
It was only a few games. So that was the 97 season. So this is 1997. And so we end up with 69 wins, not the 72. They fell just short.
Right.
And
not your fault.
Not my fault. Yeah, you can't blame me for that. But, it was neat. The one I only had one field goal, right? And it was a 2-on-1 fast break. Steve Kerr and I against Sean Respert from the Raptors.
There you go.
And Steve threw me an alley-oop, and I put it down over the top of Sean, which was fun. And Sean and I had a big hug afterwards. But it was really neat. But the last game was against the Knicks. And so here we are, and it's over.
Patrick Ewing?
Yeah. Yeah, with the Knicks. And so I actually got the locker right next to Michael, which is really cool. I mean, that was just an experience
Right.
in the month itself. And, Phil comes in like any coach does after a game, talks to the guys. Hey, we got Washington coming up, playoffs. I'll see everybody tomorrow for practice. He's walking out the door, and I'm just like, I don't know what to do other than grab my stuff and leave. And he turns around, comes walking right at me, and I stand up. He goes, hey, Matt. And now Michael stands up. He's standing right next to me, shoulder to shoulder. He goes, Phil said, hey, I'm sorry, but we're wondering if you'd like to stick around for the playoffs. He goes, I don't know what you're doing, but I'm like, I just said, I go, yeah, I'm pretty good. It sounds good. And Michael goes, good. He goes, you deserve it. And I was like, oh man, that's really cool. That was a really neat moment.
Yeah, that's great.
So, yeah.
So are you dressing for every game?
No, I didn't. I was
okay.
there in case, there's an injury. I could have been activated, but no.
Oh, but you're practicing?
Practicing, doing the whole thing, going through warm-ups, and then I would take a quick shower, put on dress clothes for the game. But I'm sitting right there on the bench.
Oh, that's great.
That was neat.
And you're part of the team.
Yeah.
And they win in '97?
We won in '97. Yeah, we beat the Jazz in Chicago.
Oh, that's where he steals the ball?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think Kukoc, Pippen stole it, hit the Kukoc for a dunk to end it.
Yeah.
But Steve Kerr actually hit a big shot to win that game.
Right.
With probably 30 seconds to go.
Pass from Jordan.
From Jordan.
Right?
He said, one where he said, I'm ready,
Right.
or give it to me. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
What is that was that the end of your career or?
No, so I didn't know what to expect next.
Right.
I hung out in Chicago all summer after that. Well, I mean, it's, the NBA playoffs, it's middle of June by the time you're done.
Right.
But whenever they needed a player to speak somewhere, high schools, I was always doing that. I didn't mind at all. And loved it, really. And was ready.
Are you getting paid?
Oh, yeah, they'd pay me for all that, for sure.
Yeah.
So it was cool. But they drafted Keith Booth out of Maryland, who was 6'6", in the first round. So if you're a first rounder, you're guaranteed.
Right.
And so I went to Krause just to have a meeting. And I just said, "There's not going to be a spot for me, right?" And he goes, "No." He goes, "So I went to camp with Atlanta, the Hawks. So Steve Smith's down there, Dikembe Mutombo, Mookie Blaylock, Christian Laettner." And same sob story. Last day, I was there was 13 guys last day of practice. And what teams did back then is there was 12 players and you could keep 3 on injured reserve. So I'm like, oh, okay. I'm number 13. I got to be here.
Right.
And they cut me and they just said, we don't keep guys on the injured reserve to start the season. They're like, but don't leave Atlanta. Stick around. I'm like, oh man, I'm getting tired of it.
Right.
But never made it back.
And so then what?
I did the G League for, that would have been maybe 1 more year, 2 more years. And then but the last thing I did was with the CBA. So the NBDL or G League was starting, and the NBA called me. They put together 12 guys that were like CBA, G League type players, and they took us for a 4-month tournament. And the first one was in Asia. We were based in Hong Kong. So I lived on Hong Kong Island for 4 months.
Wow.
It was amazing. Wow. We would travel. It was this summer tournament or fall tournament, but the Chinese team was the Chinese national team, and that's the team Yao Ming was on. So I played against Yao Ming in 7 games. Japan had a team. Korea had a team. We played a lot of games in Hong Kong.
You spent a lot of time over there.
It was neat. That was cool.
Yeah.
We came home for 2 months. Tiny Archibald was our coach. I mean, that was just cool, right? It's just like royalty, NBA royalty. Wow. Good coach, but, he was just like, we're just going to run and gun. I'm like, that's me. There wasn't a lot of coaching.
That's good.
And then we took 2 months off, and then we reconvened and went down to South America. And we traveled throughout Argentina and Brazil. And I had opportunity. I'm 30 years old, right? I had opportunities after that, but I just decided this was enough. This was a great way to end it, and I'm good.
And then what? I mean, so you're right around 99 or 2000?
It's 2000, yeah.
So are you back here for the March Madness run?
I wasn't. So that I must have ended, no, like it must have been like 2001.
Okay.
because I was still in the CBA, and when we were in the Final Four in Indianapolis, my teammate in the CBA was one of my teammates was Paul Grant, who played at Wisconsin.
Okay.
And our last game, we were in the playoffs. Our roster had been decimated by guys getting call-ups. So,
Right.
if you ever looked in the past, like it's hard to say the best team ever won the championship there because the best teams are usually their players are leaving. So we were actually being coached. This is great by he was one of the bad boys, Rick.
Mahorn?
Mahorn, guys. How can I forget Rick's name? I have trouble with names. Well, I love and adore Rick, and we'll text every few months. He was our coach.
Wow.
And he took a team we got him probably 20th game into the season, 15th game, and he turned our team around. He was coach of the year. Guys are getting call-ups, but we're in the playoffs. We're out in Yakima, Washington, and we're facing elimination that night. It's the day before the Wisconsin game. And Paul and I come
Wisconsin, Michigan State
Yeah.
game, which is the Final Four
Right.
game. Right.
Yep, in Indy. And Paul and I came up with idea. We're going to rent a car. And if we lose, and we're probably going to lose, but if we lose, this is how I sold it to Rick. I said, Paul and I are going to jump in the car, and we're going to drive to Seattle and catch the first plane smoking in the morning so we can get to Chicago and catch a ride and get to Indy.
Yeah.
He looked at us, and he said, okay, but if you guys play like shit, I'm going to kill both you motherfuckers. So it was motivation.
And he probably could have.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. So the good news, we both played really well. We did, and we lost a tight game. And it's sad, no matter what. I mean, it wasn't like making the Final Four was a consolation. It wasn't because you're better, but it was like, okay. I looked at Paul. I'm like, you ready? Let's go.
Yeah.
And we had all our stuff, and we
So you were
we did
there.
it.
You were there at Indy.
Yeah, we made it. We got there. I don't know if that game starts at 5:00. We were there that afternoon.
Oh,
So
that's
it was
amazing.
cool. Yeah.
So then what?
That whole thing with the NBDL started, and that was probably another 8 months. But yeah, by the end of 2000 in the winter, moved back to Michigan.
What about but you end up really putting your roots down,
Well, as I mentioned, I had always wanted to get back to Michigan. So then it was kind of like now what? What am I going to do? Never thought it would be real estate. I had a buddy that was building homes for a huge homemaker in the Detroit area. It wasn't Toll Brothers, but it was something like it. It wasn't Pulte. It was a small one called Silverman. I think he ended up working for Toll Brothers, but went to work for him for a little bit. Knew that's what I didn't want to do. I knew my best friend from Grand Rapids, his dad was in commercial real estate. I thought, this is what I want to do.
Right.
And I got in touch with Van Martin. And while I was living in Ann Arbor, I drove back and forth commuting, leveraged a lot of my relationships in Grand Rapids. So it was a lot of driving during those days, a lot of learning. But I worked for Van for 5 or 6 years before starting my own commercial real estate company.
And Van's a great guy to, learn the business from, right?
He really was. But, the great thing, too, about that team they had there was everyone jumped in. There were teams.
Right.
And Blair Moore, Bob Cullum, Sean O'Brien,
Wow,
all these guys, Joe
Rose.
Gentilozzi,
Right.
it was a fun group, Eric Rosecrans, of course.
Right.
So, it was great.
Yeah, I mean, you seem to fit right into their prototype of agents, really.
I wish, when I had started, I knew a little more about the business.
Yeah.
It's a tough place to cut your teeth, but if you can make it, it's a great place to cut your teeth. And, it gave me my next opportunity to start my own.
Well, yeah, and you go out on your own and tell me who you partner up with.
Ironically, I mentioned him earlier, Mike Poplowski.
Yeah.
So he and I started our company, and we started with buying a building downtown East Lansing, which we still own.
The
Masonic Temple.
The Masonic Temple. Yeah, Harry tried to buy that first.
He did.
Yeah.
And then it was the Strathmore Group that ended up, we bought that
That's
from
the
them.
name of your company, right?
60 North.
Okay. And what is the basic idea of 60 North?
We started with buying buildings that were on the National Historic Register.
Okay.
So they could either be there alone or a contributing member to a district. So that played really well in Grand Rapids. where at one point we owned about 8 properties right downtown Grand Rapids, not knowing that market was going to really turn like it has today.
Right.
I mean, people think, oh, you guys were, fortune tellers. I'm like, well, nobody has a crystal ball. I wish I did,
right.
but we certainly look like we did, but it was good.
And how many properties do you own?
Currently, we've sold a few, so we're down to 6 that we actually actively manage.
And they're multifamily, or
Some are and some aren't. So, yeah, we're right now primarily in Cleveland.
And you own how many in East Lansing?
2.
And you're married, remarried?
Yes, remarried.
And where do you live?
I'm not giving out my address here.
No, but you live in Grand Rapids.
No, I live in East Lansing.
Oh, but you play golf in Grand Rapids.
I do. Our kids go to Hazlitt, and we live in East Lansing.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So I was trying to put that together when I was thinking about it. I was, man, your wife goes to every game or almost every game. That must.
Our
be
seats are right by each other.
Yeah.
Not mine anymore, but I sit up, on the mezzanine. So.
Yeah. So, the real estate thing, is that your investment, working for yourself? Is that your sort of full-time day job?
It is.
And is your office in Cleveland?
Well, Mike has since moved to Cleveland
Right.
In 2020, and so we have an office there, employees there, but I'm here in East Lansing.
And do you work from home, or do you have an office here?
I have an office there on Mack Avenue.
Oh, okay, at the Masonic Temple.
Right.
And tell me, like, what your day to day, like, are you looking for new properties? Are you just managing what you have, or?
Right now, it's come down to managing what we have. I mean, we look for opportunities, but a lot of the work is in Cleveland, and so I travel there once a month. But we can do a lot of things remotely.
Right.
So working,
Everything's sort of changed.
Yeah, everything there is multifamily, but the commercial spaces are, always a challenge. But that's where a lot of the focus is.
And do you have investors, or is it just you and Mike?
There, it's just Mike and I on these 6 properties. So the things we sold, I've reinvested into things around Mid and West Michigan.
And how's that partnership going between you and Mike?
We're still together.
Yeah.
It's almost 20 years.
Yeah.
So I mean, we're mid 50s now, and so as you watch real estate cycles, I think we're back on the way up.
Right.
And so I don't think we're going to wait for another cycle, because they can be 10 to 12 years, and that might be when we're in our mid to late 60s.
Right.
So we'll see.
And you have how many kids?
3. 11-year-old daughter, just turned 11, and 9-year-old twin boys.
Oh, they're twins. Huh?
Yeah.
And you're not a big believer in health food.
Not at all.
I only see them at the games.
Well,
I only see them.
They don't sell health food at those games, so yeah, I know. They're like 6 rows below you. Oh, I know.
So you somehow pick up this side job,
Right.
I don't even know if it's a job or not. I don't know if you get paid, but you're working with Will Tiemann. How long have you been doing that?
This is my 18th season.
Yeah,
It's crazy.
and it's not a little bit of work.
Yeah, so doing the radio for men's basketball for Spartan Sports Network. No, it's.
I mean, you have to
but
go
it's-
to every game, right?
I mean, when it started, that was a requirement. If
Right.
I have, I just said, look, if there is something I can't miss, or if it's a event for my kids now, hey, look, it's not that important to me. There's other things that are more important,
Right,
and they get that, and that's fine.
But I mean,
today.
you're not calling the game from a
No,
TV studio.
We traveled.
You're at the games
yeah.
for the most part.
You're right. Yeah, even during COVID, we were the only Big Ten school to travel. So we traveled with the team
Right.
during that first season.
And Will sort of is an iconic, voice
Right.
and sort of phrases that he uses
Right.
for the game, right?
Absolutely. But, guys that do play-by-play, that's an art and a skill.
Right.
I'm the color guy. So for, prep for me is, looking at the opposing team, prior to the game, dialing in. I treat it like a game, but I don't have to spend the whole week prepping. So my.
You want to know who the players are, what
absolutely.
their history is. But that's, you're not relearning 15 guys for every game. Because,
Not like he is.
Yeah.
Right. Or learning their hometowns and being able to recite all that.
Right.
I mean, a lot of things are written down, but no, I'm reacting to what's happening during the game. But we definitely talk. For me, I'm always interested in trends. Recent trends, last 5 games, how someone's playing. They come in here. What kind of mindset would they have? If I can see an opponent probably hasn't been up to his averages, I know as a former player, watch out. This guy's probably going to come in here very aggressive. But yeah, it's somewhat timed at times giving my opinion. But for the most part, I've always tried to approach this to be unbiased. I think that's more of a genuine.
Why?
To be more genuine. I know, right? Because I say this. I know that there's 1 or 2 games a year where I'm a homer.
Right.
And it's when we play Michigan, and I won't hold back.
But you know the Michigan State guys, and it's not a secret that I think you're hired to some degree by Michigan State, or the Spartan Sports are. So, you're there to call Michigan State games, right?
Well, I know, and I do. Don't get me wrong, but I feel if it's too sugar coated, people, I would be bored with that. If I listened, some people love it, and that's what I think I do. But I just want to be honest. When we play bad, I'll say it.
And you have a hard to lose that competitive drive that you had till you were 30, right? As much as you say you walked away at a certain point in time, it probably wasn't as easy as you speak about it now, right?
Oh, it wasn't easy. Nothing. I don't like to quit anything,
right?
Nor be told. But as an athlete, you do get old. Your body your mind doesn't tell you. Your body does.
And you were. I don't know whether it's easier never to be at the top, but you were basically at the top, right? Playing with the best of the greatest of all time, essentially. So you got to taste it, and obviously you knew what your ability was. You could play with the guys at that level, right?
Which is cool, and being part of the team now, go to practices.
Right.
At first no one really knows, and the one real neat thing at Breslin, in a stairwell that not many people have access to, there's a big mural of all the NBA champions, and so I get to be on that, and that's where all the players walk when they go down to practice. And so once in a while you'll see like a kid be looking at me going, and the light bulb comes on that, oh, you're that guy on the mural. And once they get to know me, it's fun to talk with them and tell stories and answer questions.
And you get to travel, and you get to go to places like Duke and North Carolina, and you develop, guys that you've known, that you've talked about on the show, you get to,
do interviews, which is great from time to time. It really, it's unique, right? And I get to be back a part of it. I know that people that sit to my right, it's like a lot of writers will sit there, and I'm jumping up and down, and I'm hitting them, and they're just, there's been some stories.
Like few of those guys have ever played even in high school, right?
No, I doubt it.
And I'm not being too critical. No. They have a job, but
they have a different skill set.
Completely different than a guy who's played like you.
Jeff Anderson, the referee who did our game against Iowa, almost tossed me out of the Auburn game last year in Atlanta because I was arguing a call.
Right.
Yeah, and so, it's...
But how does that feel to be able to stay connected, not just to Tom Izzo and Michigan State, but to be, probably pretty close to all the guys on the team?
It's great, and I love it. It's what that will be. The thing I'll miss the most is just feeling a part of that team again. And should I not do it anymore? But that is
why do you say you miss it? Are you thinking about?
No, I just say that would be that's what I love about it. It's fun to be that part of it. So it's cool.
And your wife must be a saint.
Right, I know.
Right.
Yeah, the nice thing about travel is I
know her. I've been introduced to her. I would say hi to her, but I don't really know her very well, other than she sits 2 seats in front of her.
Yeah.
And whenever her kids are going by, I always say, "Hey, you want a hot dog? Why don't you go get here's some money? Go get some ice cream." And they're always eating the junk food.
I know. Well, because they don't get it at home. But the fun part, well, really nice is traveling with them is we come back like on a road game. We come back right away.
Right away,
So
yeah.
we're home,
Yeah.
pretty quick, and I'm there the next morning. So it's not, and there's not that many road games, right? Half of the schedule, and it's usually January and February. So you get through those, those months. It's not that bad. The perks are good too.
What do you think? I know we're way over our time, but this is, what do you think of this team?
They've answered a lot of questions. Going into the season, where was the outside shooting going to come from? Jeremy Fears, was he going to be able to knock down shots? So the bench has gotten deeper, which is great.
Right.
I love them. I think it's great. It's not like last year's team and what could be, where you had kind of 5 and 5. This is a really connected group of 8 to 9 players. I like it.
What do you think it is? I mean, you've gotten to see him from up close. Since whatever, 88,
I've known him since I was 16, yeah.
Yeah.
15.
What do you think of him today as opposed to,
Tom's as real and as genuine as the day I met him.
Right.
He hasn't changed. He's had all this success, and I think that's the reason why he is who he is and where he is and why he's been able to have this success, because he hasn't changed. He's still that kid from the UP, and he's that genuine.
I'll tell you my take, and shouldn't be considered even close to your, I obviously know him, but I just watch from afar. I don't see him retiring at all. I mean, like if you look at what he's doing this year, yeah, I mean, sure, there's a lot of work, but it doesn't look like work to him, in a way that would be, everything is going good. And if he could have teams like this and without the acute distractions that he's had in years past, I mean.
And you look at the recruiting classes coming in, they're getting better. Why would you quit? And the energy level hasn't dropped. Probably the thing that'll kill him is when he does quit. And he loves it. And
it looks like he loves it,
right?
And if you go to the practices and you go to the thing, I mean, he's he deserves everything he gets. And obviously, if he retired, that would be a decision. But man, when people say how many more years. I mean,
I never have an answer.
To me, I look at it and say, why would he drives 4 miles? He's in a gym suit.
Right.
He's at the top of the mountain.
Well, when they built those new offices, the story I heard was that when Loopy, his wife, first saw it, she started to cry. They're like, "Well, you're never coming home." So yeah, when the university forces him to go on vacations, it's just funny. I mean, he's a lifer, and he cares. And you feel it. You don't even have to know it. It's just there.
Have you met the football coach?
No.
Did you know him? He's about your age, right?
He's a couple years younger. Yeah.
Oh, really? Yeah.
Rumor is we'll have a chance to interview him tomorrow during the Duke game, so we'll see. Yeah. I'm looking forward to it.
There's nothing not to like about his credentials, right?
No, I agree, and I think a guy that can rally our base and get everybody excited.
I mean, we've gone way over, which I'm glad we did. I got to tell you, you've been all over the world. You've been at the top of the mountain in your profession. What keeps you here in Lansing?
It's obviously it's a good question. I've had opportunities to do other things and go other places, but I just, being born here, my career's here, although my wife's from West Michigan, she's from Rockford, we both collectively love it here. And I can't see really anything else. Well,
it's great to have you on the show. And, you are, I got to tell you, in this town, we're a small town. And good, bad, or indifferent, everybody sort of talks about everybody else. You sort of hear rumors. People say things all the time about me. What I say is everything they say is true. But I never hear anybody say a bad word about you.
Oh, that's really nice.
I mean, it's true. I mean, you've carried yourself for a long time, and you've probably taken some criticism of, what could have been or whatever. But, people don't understand that it's being a great athlete is one thing, but being a great citizen and everything you've brought to the community, and now what you give back in basketball it's a real, it's a different experience to listen to the game on the radio, and I always look forward to hearing you. So
I appreciate that. Thank you,
yeah,
Andrew.
yeah. Thanks
All
for
right.
coming out.
You got it, my man.
Great.